Howdy folks, welcome back to Doing Brew. On today's video we're going to be installing upper cabinets as part of our complete kitchen remodel series. These cabinets, made by cabinets.com, are constructed with hardwood and furniture grade plywood only. There's no plastic components in these cabinets, and certainly no MDF and no wood grain stickers. All of the cabinets come standard with soft closed doors and soft closed drawers, which really adds a nice touch. Now the first thing you got to do when installing any cabinets is really study your plan. To ensure proper cabinet placement, next up I have to determine what height to mount my upper cabinets at to accommodate the crown molding. To ensure that crown attaches to the top of the cabinet and the ceiling. 8, 11/16. And I want a 3/16 inch reveal on top of the cabinet. So plus 3 is 38 and 7/8. Okay, so I want to be 38 and 7/8 down from the ceiling. So I'm going to transcribe that measurement, 38 and 7/8 down from the ceiling, and that'll be the level at which I mount the upper cabinets. Next up, I want to identify the location of all my studs. And before we put up drywall, I made a quick video.
19 and a half.
Okay, I'm going to subtract a half. Okay. Subtracting a ½ inch for the thickness of the drywall on the opposing wall.
100.
I screw this in and then you lower that end is going to go up. 1/16. Yeah, be level?
Yes.
Now a little bit more.
Yeah.
Sure, I could use a stud finder, but this is a surefire way of knowing exactly where your studs are. Next up, we're going to install a ledger board. The bottom of all the upper cabinets will temporarily rest on this ledger board to ensure they're all installed at exactly the same height. For this kitchen will be 38 and 7/8 inches down from the ceiling. This ledger board also makes it real easy to hold the cabinets level in place while you secure them to the wall. And of course, these are being secured directly to the studs. And for both the upper and lower cabinet installs, I always use the GRK brand of cabinet installation screws. Good solid screws, they bite real well into the wood, and that large head prevents any kind of pull-out from the cabinet. The next cabinet to install is the cabinet over the cooktop, which is probably the most difficult one to install because it requires a cutout to accommodate the vent to the outside from the range hood. The ducting for this range hood is 5 inches in diameter. So once I establish the center point for the cut, it's a simple task of marking 2.5 inches out from that center point all the way around and then sketching out a radius. Hey, a quick program note. Please stay tuned to the end of this video for a preview of our next big Do and Brew project. Many years ago, I got my start with home improvement and carpentry work watching This Old House and The New Yankee Workshop with Norm Abrams. Well, Norm always said, measure twice and cut once. And something just didn't look right to me on the top of that cabinet based on where the vent was. Sure enough, I was off by 2.5 inches. So I measured twice and I'm getting ready to do my one cut. Let's see how this works out. Guide it up through there. Go ahead and get it drawn up. Hey, hold on. Hey, hold on. I sure am glad I took the time and didn't rush that cut. Now that's a nice tight fit. Now this cabinet will be secured using 4 screws, 2 on the top and 2 on the bottom. And I want to point out that for the larger cabinets, I use 6 screws if possible. That's 3 across the top and 3 across the bottom. But it all depends on where your studs fall. Now that we have this cabinet securely attached to the wall, we need to attach the face frames. And that's done simply with some wood screws. And as you would anytime screwing through hardwood, you need to pre-drill. And then you also want to taper. This is a nice tapering bit. And what this does, it provides a tapered hole so that the head of the screw sits below the level surface of the wood. Nice clean finish. And that screw simply goes into that pre-drilled hole and brings those facing frames real nice and tight together.
I feel like the cabinets at our house were a lot heavy.
And now for cabinet number 3. It's going to go up on the wall exactly the same way as the first two. We'll secure it to the wall and then pre-drill and secure those face frames together.
Is there any?
And using the tape measure to confirm the location of the studs. Now, just a quick procedural note. We're not installing the upper cabinets just because that's what we feel like doing today. You should always install the upper cabinets first because you need to be able to move underneath those cabinets pretty much in the position where the base cabinets will go. So it's much easier to do the upper cabinets first and then go back and just simply slide the lower cabinets, the base cabinets, into place. Different aspects of the project going on at the same time. So, as we've been installing these cabinets from left to right along the wall, I've been connecting the face frames from the right side towards the left side, screwing the right cabinet into the cabinet to the left. Now I'm going to quickly go back down the row of cabinets and screw the left cabinet into the right cabinet. Next up on our upper cabinet install plan, we're going to be installing the upper cabinet just to the right of the window and to the right of the sink. Now this cabinet, per the plan, requires about a 2-inch filler piece. Now what this filler piece will do is basically push the cabinet about 2 inches from the right to the left. And we'll also install a filler piece on the other cabinet on the left side of the window. By adding these filler pieces, it will ensure that the window is perfectly centered between the cabinets. Now, cabinets.com provides quite a bit of filler material. However, you have to cut it down to size. So the first cut I just made there was to cut to the proper height for the cabinet. And now I'm going to rip it down on the table saw to that 2-inch width. This filler strip is attached in exactly the same way that we attach the face frames. Pre-drill, taper, and then a good quality wood screw from the cabinet side into the filler side. And as you can see, you've got to line up the bottom just perfectly so there's no overhang on the filler piece. You can be a little bit proud on the top because of course that's going to be covered by the crown molding. These quick release clamps really act like a second pair of hands and go a long way to help make the task a whole lot easier to hold that filler piece in place while you pre-drill and screw it to the cabinet. And as you can see, we've relocated our PVC ledger board that we used to install the first set of cabinets. Now we've installed it here on this exterior wall, the wall with the window, and of course this will ensure that this row of cabinets is perfectly level with the initial row. This is really important, especially when you consider that we're going to have a break here for the window, and we want our upper cabinets on both sides of the window to be exactly level with one another. And this simple ledger board makes for easy work of leveling out our cabinets. Now we're just going to slide it to the left here, and it will serve to level out all the cabinets on this wall and begin to level out the cabinets on the wall to Alex's left. Now marking out the location of my studs, and this is one reason why it's real important to know your cabinet install plan. We have to install this cabinet first before we install the cabinet to our right, the one closest to the window. And that's because this cabinet that we're installing right now, plus the filler piece, will establish the location for that cabinet, which is just to the left of the window, to ensure that it then centers the window between itself and the cabinet over on the right side of the window. And the window's not perfectly centered. It's off by about 1.5 inches. As you can see, this spacer's at about 3.5 inches, where the one on the right was about 2 inches. And we'll go ahead and attach this the same way we did previously. We'll pre-drill, we'll countersink the hole, and attach it with 3 wood screws, top, middle, and bottom. Once we have that attached, the guys will lift it into place. We'll ensure that it's plumb and level, and we'll secure it to the wall. With that cabinet in place, we have one more to go. The small cabinet above the refrigerator. This is a relatively easy cabinet to install. We just need to ensure that it's plumb and level, and we'll attach it with 4 screws, 2 on the top, 2 on the bottom, into the studs. And that completes the install of 8 upper cabinets. To be honest, folks, you don't have to have 2 helpers to install these cabinets. You could do it with 1, and I've even done them by myself. But it sure does make it a whole lot easier to have the extra hands to ensure you're plumb and level when securing these cabinets. Up next in our next video, we'll be installing the base cabinets. Not difficult to do. You can certainly knock these out by yourself. The most difficult part is cutting around the utilities, but that's not that hard to do, and I'll show you how to do it. So with the base cabinet video and one more video to finish out the remodel of this kitchen, we'll complete the kitchen remodel series. So I hope you stay tuned to see the end, and don't forget, we are still diligently working on the renovation of the old brick farmhouse. Those videos will immediately follow the kitchen remodel series. And this is a big project, folks. Inside and out, top to bottom. All exterior trim work, fascia, gutters down and replaced with new. I can't wait to see the new copper gutters go up. There's quite a bit of brickwork to be done. Holes left over from previous remodels and additions need to be bricked up, as well as quite a bit of repointing to replace old mortar that's deteriorated and fallen out over the years. Plus, we'll stop along the way and have a little bit of fun. We also have to replumb the entire house. All of the plumbing froze up years ago. This large house previously only had 2 bathrooms. We're going to add 2 new bathrooms where there previously was none. 2 of the 3 porches need to be completely demoed and restored. All of the materials, interior and exterior, will be the highest grade materials with the longest life expectancy. There is quite a bit of plaster repair and restoration to the interior that needs to be done. The 200-year-old windows and window sills need to be completely restored and repainted. All of the interior moldings, door casings, intricate moldings, doorways, ceilings, walls, all need to be repainted. So be sure and subscribe to Do & Brew so you don't miss any of these exciting videos coming soon to the channel, folks. Hey, if you have any questions about cabinet installation, either leave it in the comments or send me an email. I'm glad to help out any way I can. See you back here next time on Do & Brew. Take care, folks.